Would you believe Big D? It's the Alabama practice field in Dallas. And this is a man who needs no introduction, the legendary Bear, architect of 3 national champions, preparing his troops for Alabama's 9th consecutive bowl game, the 1968 Cotton Bowl Classic. The famed Crimson Tide, entering this battle with an 8-1-1 record, yielded only 2 touchdowns in their last 5 encounters. This was one of those storybook games, bringing together the master and the legions of one of his star pupils, former captain and former assistant, the dynamic 32-year-old Gene Stallings. The Aggie Gladiators hone up for the rich 32nd Cotton Bowl Classic in Chamber of Commerce weather. The fightin' never-say-Uncle Aggies, who lost their first 4 and who spent the first month of the season in the Southwest Conference cellar, then showed what champions are made of by winning 6 straight shindigs and the league laurels. This business is not all muscle, though. The boys from Alabama studied Texas A&M game films. And you can rest assured that these Aggies weren't watching Cowboys and Indians either. Head defensive coach Ken Donahue of the Tide tutors his squad with a chalk chat as they lay the trap for the cadets. A&M offensive coach Bud Moore, another former Bryant player, heads up this skull session as the Aggies map their attack. The Alabama boys burn the midnight oil as they go over the A&M scouting report, and then find time to relax with lighter stuff before calling it a day. But it's not all work and no play during this gala week. There's companionship and the traditional Cotton Bowl hat, sugar and spice, etc., etc. Coach Bryant gets a special fitting by Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson. And here's what football players are made of. The boys enjoy a pregame party in their honor. The celebrants include Field Scoville, prominent A&M graduate and one of the Cotton Bowl leaders. After the food, it's time for song. In spite of the busy pace of this great week, the lads find time for other things. Having grand time, wish you were here, Ma. Fighting the tension and pacifying the butterflies, and hoping they can fit all the pieces together on New Year's Day, too. More moments in the lives of football heroes. And then there's a time for checking those press clippings. There's even time for the boys to see other Dallas sports spectacles as they're the guest at a rough and ready ice hockey game. Now, here are 2 gentlemen who have a lot to talk about. And there are plenty of folks willing to listen. as the coaches meet with the men of the Fourth Estate in a press conference. Then it's off to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame banquet, honoring famed Texas sportsmen of past and present. Bocce Cook, All-American on the 1930 Baylor football team. Judge Fred Harris, a one-time teammate of the deceased star, makes the presentation to Bocce's brother Bubba, an outstanding athlete in his own right at Rice. Now the handsome Fred Hansen, the former Olympic champion and world record holder from Rice, receives his award from his highly successful coach, Emmett Brunson, himself a former champion. Young Fred is now studying at the Baylor School of Dentistry. Another recipient was Howard Grubbs, Executive Secretary of the Southwest Conference and the Cotton Bowl Athletic Association. His award was presented by Bob Cullum, President of the State Fair of Texas and former President of the Cotton Bowl Athletic Association. Mr. Grubbs was an all-conference quarterback and a great passer at TCU. And then one of the world's all-time speed kings, Texas' own A.J. Foyt, champion at Indianapolis and numerous other auto races, has the honors bestowed upon him by Tony Hulman, owner of Indianapolis Speedway. Famed Texas sports writer Mickey Herskowitz emceed the event. It's New Year's Eve in Dallas, highlighted by the colorful Cotton Bowl ball. It's an evening of revelry and reminiscing, and Coach Stallings lends an interested ear to former Aggie great Tyree Bell. There's luscious food and lovely ladies. Then, Happy New Year. Flashing feet and happy couples dance their way into a bright new year. Marching into 1968, in the morning of the game, the Texas State Fairgrounds comes alive with the 11th annual Cotton Bowl Festival Parade. And what's a parade without the little guys? Color sets the theme once more. Pretty girls make the day. The Cotton Bowl Queen's Court, and there are the royal princesses from each of the Southwest Conference schools. The University of Alabama's $1 Million Band thrills the throng. The ever-popular Kilgore College Rangerettes add precision and prettiness to the proceedings. There's that girl again. even a touch of Disneyland. Aggie hearts swell with pride as the Texas A&M Band, 250 strong, steps smartly down the concourse. And now it's the fans' turn to march. And march they do to the Cotton Bowl Stadium as game time draws near. And now the countdown is almost complete. The long-awaited moment arrives as 75,000 spectators swarm into the big bowl to witness one of sportdom's greatest spectacles. The old maestro sends his lads through their final tune-ups. Coach Stallings surveys meteorological conditions as he sends his troops through their last-minute paces. More pageantry adds sparkle to the afternoon. Referee Red Cavett of the Southeastern Conference flips it. And there you see it. It's heads. Alabama wins it. The toss and the ball. Texas A&M's Bob Long. Rainbows 1 to Tommy Wade. And the battle of guided muscles is underway. Wade frolics to the Bama 35 before being chopped down by the Aggies' Curly Hallman. With 75,000 fans screaming, the Alabama players can't hear Stabler's audible, and disaster strikes on the very first play. Rolf Kruger recovers for Texas A&M on the tied 28-yard line. From the Aggie eye, All-Southwest Conference quarterback Ed Hargett makes his first cast of the day, but overshoots Bob Long. On 3rd and 10, here's a coach's view of Hargett's swing pass to fullback Bill Salee, who reaches the Alabama 20-yard line. Fourth down, needing 2, Alabama linebacker Bob Childs blocks a pass to send the Aggies' first drive down in flames. From a double slot set, Stabler gets a cool block from David Chatwood, the fullback, and burns one to All-American Dennis Homan for a 30-yard advance to the Aggie 46. Chatwood, the game's leading rusher with 62 yards, bagged 14 of them on this spurt. Here's a face mask foul by an over-anxious Aggie. Stabler was nailed for a deficit, but a 15-yard fine moved the ball down to the cadet 18. Watch tailback Ed Morgan detect daylight and make a weak side cutback through the gulch for 4 yards. It's Alabama 4th and 2 on the Aggie 10. Somebody goofs. The Aggies get a 5-yard spanking, and Bryant's brigade has a 1st and goal at the 5. Chatwood probes right tackle to the 3. And then here comes the TD. Stabler influences the Aggies inside with a fake to Morgan and strolls into Gloryville. Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those people? Let's dissect that TD in slow motion. Watch the Aggies take the fake, setting up Stabler's easy voyage to the game's first score. Pre-med student Steve Davis toes his 19th straight extra point of the year. and Alabama leads by a score of 7-0. Alabama dominated first quarter offense. The defense forced Steve O'Neal, one of the nation's leading punters, to kick to Donnie Sutton, and the Tide has it on their 29. Stabler, who connected on 16 of 26 aerials for 179 yards, saw Aggie safety Tommy Maxwell pick off this misguided missile to give the Cadets possession. But A&M was caught on a clipping wrap and penalized to the Alabama 43. And now the Aggies mount a touchdown march. Hargett guns one to Barney Harris. Larry Stegent unveils a neat block. And 28 yards later, two-time All-American Bobby Johns applies the brakes at the Tide 15. Sizzling sophomore Stegent storms up Main Street to the 13. Hargett tries to hit Harris for all the marbles. But safety Dickie Thompson achieves one of his 4 pass breakages of the afternoon. Now let's get set for a touchdown. Our cameraman must have sent in this play. Number 25, Stegent, comes out on a swing pattern. Hargett hits the target, and 193-pound Larry displays his amazing balance and power to reach royal soil. Once more, in slow motion. Stegent, who rushed 18 times, ran back a punt and a kickoff, blocked, tackled, and caught 4 passes during the day, makes the grab here, evades Bobby Johns, and possible embarrassment, to make the score 7-6. Charlie Riggs' kick is true, and it's through, and the scoreboard is once more level at 7-7. After the kickoff, Cool Kenny finds Perry Willis on a button hook. Willis pays the price, and Bama has a first down at its 42. Stabler kind of likes that button hook stuff, and this time, sophomore Hunter Husband goes downfield, makes like a kangaroo for a first down in Aggie land. From the Aggie 41, fullback Kenny Martin shakes, rattles, and rolls for 18 big yards. Tommy Maxwell effects the entrapment. Tommy Wade tries his luck, but look, Mom, no cavities. The first quarter curtain falls with Stabler failing to gain from the A&M 19. Score still 7-up. Teeing off from the 26, Steve Davis decorates the Alabama side of the scoreboard to make it Tide 10, Texas A&M 7. During the next dozen minutes, each team could muster only 1 first down. Then on the Alabama 44, things appeared to shape up for the Tide. But not for long. Stabler's pass to Perry Willis is good, but he fumbles the ball. And Aggie Jim Piper retrieves the loose pigskin to actuate an A&M scoring drive from their 44. The Aggies, noted for their big plays, uncorked this 17-yard gain on a 3rd and 10 situation. Bob Long, who caught 8 touchdown passes on the season, fields this one on Alabama's 39-yard line. Here's a Hargett bullseye to Tommy Buckman for a 21-yard gain to the Tide 18, with only 78 seconds left in the first half. Now let's watch Larry Stegent on these 2 pass receptions. Zap! That tackle was felt plumb across Texas, but it didn't deter him. Watch this fantastic fielding job by Stegent. He fights his way to the 7-yard line with 21 seconds to go. And then the Aggies' two-way terror, Tommy Maxwell, breaks free in the end zone for Ed Hargett's 2nd touchdown toss of the game, and A&M seizes the lead. The PAT attempt failed, and the cadets repair to the coffee break with a 13-10 advantage over Alabama. With the combined bands, it was another Cotton Bowl classic halftime spectacular, an epic of pageantry and musicianship that delighted the holiday gathering. But now let's get back to work. In the third quarter, Stegent swirls for 4 of his 56 rushing yards of the afternoon. Stegent again assaults the Alabama armor for 4. And here's a picture book hook to sophomore Barney Harris, one of only 2 Aggie passes in the second half. From the Alabama 34, here's a demonstration of power by Wendell Housley, who paced the Aggie infantry with 59 yards. Housley had moved it to the 21. Now Hargett runs the option to the 20. And now watch Housley. At least 5 defenders lay hands on him. But the unsinkable Mr. Housley keeps rolling into royal soil to make it 19-10. Charlie Riggs sets his sights, and bingo, it's Texas A&M 20, Alabama 10. Now Alabama comes off the deck fighting. Chatwood explodes to his 37. From the Crimson Tide 40, Stabler launches one to Big Danny Ford, good for 19 yards. Here's a carbon copy in slow motion. And it still takes a crowd to get Ford down. Chatwood turns the corner for 8 yards on this effort. Ed Morgan adds 4 to the Tide cause before going down in an Aggie manslide. And from the A&M 29, Stabler's quick slant-in toss to Homan breaks him into the tertiary, but Ross Brubaker sinks him at the 7. On second down, Stabler, affectionately known as the Snake, springboards for his second touchdown. Here it is once more in slow motion. Trailing 20-16, the Tide tries for 2 points on the conversion attempt, but the Aggie reception committee refused to cooperate. And so the third stanza ends. Aggies 20, Alabama 16. In these next 2 plays, Hargett gives a neat demonstration of how to run the option play. First with a perfectly timed pitch to Stegent for 8 yards. Then he retains it himself for half a dozen more to the Crimson Tide 30. Here's one of the most spectacular plays of the day. Housley fumbles, Bob Childs grabs it, he loses it, and Alvin Samples finally recovers for Alabama at their 27. Once more, is it football? No, it's soccer. Or tennis, anybody? After a couple of punts, Alabama has it at the 20-yard line. Stabler doesn't see Ivan Jones coming from the other side. Gotcha, says Mr. Jones, and Alabama loses 7 more. On 3rd and 17 from their 13, the Tide shows a spread formation, and Stabler looks for Homan, who makes one of his 6 catches of the day at the 19-yard line. That's Bill Hobbs coming up to make the tackle. Now it's late in the game, and 4th and 11, and this pass nets only a yard. But Alabama gets a stay of execution when the Aggies are penalized for illegal use of hands. This sets the ball at the Tide 44, where Stabler hums one to Willis for 7 steps. At the Aggie 49, the tenacious Aggie defense flushes Stabler from the nest, but he succeeds in finding Homan for a 14-yard gain. The camera isolates on Homan on that last play to show you an All-American in action. From the A&M 35, Stabler goes to the launching pad once more, but this time Homan cannot grip it. As the noose tightens, Stabler keeps firing, but Bill Hobbs, selected as lineman of the game, deflects the pass. On 4th down at the 35, Stabler teams up with Hunter Husband again, but the Tide is 4 yards shy at the A&M 29, and the Aggies gain control. With a half-minute left, A&M is forced to kick. O'Neal boots it. Homan waits. But here comes that guy Stegen again. From the Alabama 42, Stabler, harassed by Kruger and Lynn Odom, aims for Homan. But Holman, who made the game's opening tackle, intercepts to put the final clincher on Alabama. And time and the Tide have come to an end. And so has the 32nd Cotton Bowl game. A dramatic climax to Texas A&M's Cinderella season. The Aggies are back.
To capture the title before beating touted Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. It was the year of the big plays by the Aggies. The 14 touchdown passes by quarterback Ed Hargett, 8 of them to Bob Long. The crucial runs by fullback Wendell Housley and tailback Larry Stegen. The great defensive play by linebacker Bill Hobbs. And the year of 30 pass interceptions and 14 fumble recoveries. It started off in the basement and it finished in the penthouse. A real rags to riches story. One that made Hobbs an All-America. 9 Aggies named to various All-Southwest Conference first teams. And vaulted young Gene Stallings to Coach of the Year honors. It didn't start too well on a September afternoon in College Station on national TV as the Aggies take on defending conference champion SMU. After Jerry Levias returns the opening kickoff 46 yards, the Ponies drive to the Aggie 5 from where Dennis Partee boots a 22-yard field goal to put SMU in a 3-0 lead. Near the end of the first period, the Aggies are on the move. First, Hargett's pass is tipped by Tom Buckman, and Long nabs it for a 10-yard gain. Then Russ Brubaker goes over left tackle for 5 yards. Finally, Housley rams through the line for 10 yards and the touchdown. Charlie Riggs' conversion makes it A&M 7, SMU 3. Late in the fourth period, SMU leads 13-10. Hargett unlimbers his pitching arm. He hits Tommy Maxwell for 12 yards. Then he throws to Maxwell again, this time for 17. For a change, he hurls to Brubaker for 15. Then he fires a 29-yard shot that Long grabs in the end zone as the A&M senior cadets go wild. Riggs' kick makes it 17-13 A&M, and there are only 43 seconds left to play. But wait, it isn't over yet. Levias returns Hobbs' kickoff 24 yards to the SMU 42. Then little Inez Perez goes to work. First he hits Levias with a 29-yard pass to start the surge. A moment later, he spots Levias breaking into the end zone and fires a strike. A touchdown with only 4 seconds left. And there is dark gloom in Aggie land. The next week, the Aggies are in the Cotton Bowl against a big, strong Purdue club, one of the nation's top-ranked outfits. The passing of Purdue quarterback Mike Phipps. First to his great halfback, Leroy Keys. And then the star end Jim Burney, plus numerous Aggie injuries, leads to A&M's downfall for the second straight week, this time by a close 24-20 verdict. But even in defeat, there are indications of better things to come. Hobbs intercepts a Phipps pass and makes like a fullback in racing 25 yards for a touchdown. And Hargett scrambles out of trouble and fires a 60-yard scoring strike to Bob Long. Physically weakened by the Purdue game, the Aggies move into Baton Rouge to play LSU on the third Saturday of the season. The Tigers put a big rush on Hargett, and most of his passes are either dropped or fall incomplete. Or he is dropped before he could get off the pass. Meanwhile, LSU rips off good gains like this one by Tommy Allen. And this one by Jim Ducey. Quarterback Nelson Stokely hits a touchdown pass to Allen. It ends with a 17-6 LSU victory, and the Aggies are 0-3. Back home on a rainy night, the Aggies face Florida State, a team that had battled Alabama to a 37-37 standoff earlier. It just didn't seem to be the year of the Aggies as we pick up the action late in the fourth period. A&M is leading 18-13, and Florida State is threatening when Kim Hammond lofts a pass for Lane Fenner. A&M's Tom Suey intercepts in the end zone. Larry Stegen, destined to become the sophomore of the year in the Southwest Conference before the season is over, picks up 11 yards. Next, Stegen tries left end, is hit. Fumbles the football, and Florida State has it on A&M's 27. On the first play, Bill Mormon blasts up the middle for a touchdown, and Florida State has a 19-18 victory. Thus, the Aggies are 0-4 with 3 of those losses by 3, 4, and 1 points. With their backs to the wall, the Aggies travel to Lubbock to resume Southwest Conference play against Texas Tech in a game that becomes the turning point in A&M's unbelievable season. After a scoreless first quarter, Tech is on the move in the second period. Quarterback John Scoville skirts left end for 13 yards to midfield. Mike Leinert rips over left tackle for 8 yards. And finally, at the A&M 28, Kenny Vineyard kicks a 45-yard field goal to give the Red Raiders a 3-0 lead. Late in the second period, Tech is at the Aggie 39. Another field goal attempt, but this time, Bill Hobbs goes high in the air to block it. And A&M takes over on its own 42. Now fired up, the Aggies go to work. Hargett hits end Tom Buckman for 19 yards to the Tech 39. He passes to fullback Bill Salee and goes to the Tech 14. Then bingo, Hargett fires to Bob Long for the touchdown. Briggs kicks, makes it 7-3. A&M with 1:51 left to play in the first half. Some defensive changes made by Coach Stallings prior to the game paid off shortly after the ensuing kickoff. Scoville's pass is intercepted by Russ Brubaker, who had moved from offensive to defensive halfback, and the Louisiana youngster runs it back 13 yards. Hargett fires DeLong for 13 to the Tech 15-yard line. Then Back to pass, Hargett decides to run and goes to the Tech 8. From there, the Aggie quarterback lofts another pass, and there's Barney Harris all alone in the end zone for the A&M touchdown. It's 14-3 Aggies at halftime. The Red Raiders come back with fire in their eyes in the third period. The first time they get the football, they go 67 yards to score. Scoble around the left side for 11. Leinert finds a big hole for 7 yards. Leinert again through left tackle for 2 yards and the touchdown. Vineyard's kick makes it 14-10 Aggies. Later in the third period, Tech gets the football again and is off and running. Leinert starts it with a 7-yard run. Roger Freeman picks up 5 more. Then it's Leinert on a 5-yard scoring jaunt. Now the Aggies get their turn. Early in the fourth period, Hargett throws to Salih for 23 yards. Follows that up with a pitch to Maxwell, good for 15. Maxwell on the receiving end again. He gets 16 before fumbling out of bounds. Hargett then hits Harris with a 13-yarder down to the Tech 13. And finds Stegent with this touchdown shot. Riggs' kick makes it 21-17 Aggies. Another Tech drive is stopped when Buster Adamy intercepts a Scoble pass and returns it 14 yards to midfield. But Tech still has some life remaining, and the Red Raiders are on the move again. Scoble fires to end Larry Gilbert for 19 yards before he goes out of bounds at the Aggie 33. A little later, Scoble hits Freeman with a pass that carries to the A&M 14. Then Scoble makes a great fake and pitches to Kenny Baker, who goes into the end zone untouched. Now it's Tech 24, A&M 21, and the clock shows 53 seconds left in the game. This is where the Aggies show their class, where they come back fighting when they could have called it quits. First, Hargett passes to Stegent for 21 yards to the Tech 38. Then 3 incompleted passes. A 5-yard penalty. It's 4th and 15. Hargett sails the ball downfield, and Long makes a miraculous catch amidst a gang of Red Raiders on Tech's 15-yard line. The clock shows 3 seconds. Time for one play. Hargett goes back. No one is open. He takes off. Stegent comes out of the end zone to throw the big block. Hargett is over. So is the game. Riggs' kick makes it an official 28-24 Aggie victory. Now the Aggies are on their way. They face TCU in Fort Worth. The first period is scoreless, but the Aggies strike suddenly early in the second quarter. Hargett feeds one downfield, and 28 yards away, Bob Long catches it in the end zone as he seemingly snatches it out of Billy Lloyd's hands. Riggs' kick makes it 7-0, and that's the way it is when the Frogs start driving at the end of the third period. Dan Carter finds Bill Ferguson all alone for a 14-yard gainer down to the Aggie 7. On the first play of the final period, Carter throws again. But here comes linebacker Bill Hobbs. He intercepts, and he is off and running for 102 yards. And the touchdown that puts the Aggies out in front, 14-0. Later in the fourth period, the Aggies strike again. Stegent rambles to the right and goes 23 yards. The Houston sophomore for 4 more. And then Housley over the left side races 26 yards untouched for the score. Final score, the Aggies 20, TCU nothing. Back home again, the Aggies face the Baylor Bears. Early in the game, Alvin Flynn lofts a pass. Curly Hallman tips it, and Russ Brubaker intercepts and comes back to the Aggie 20. Then Hargett and Stegent go to work. Stegent around left end for 14. Hargett throws to Buckman for 17 more. It's Steegen skirting right end for 14. Then Hargett passes DeLong, and he falls into the end zone, and A&M has a 7-0 lead. In the second period, the Aggie defense rises again. Kenny Stockdale throws for Baylor, and Ivan Jones is there. He intercepts and returns 17 yards to the Baylor 32. Steegen races for 15. Hargett shows his great versatility, runs twice, first for 9 yards, then for 8 more. Next, the Aggie quarterback hits long with a touchdown pass that makes it 14-0 A&M. Baylor comes back throwing, and on this long pass by Flynn, Tommy Maxwell intercepts. But it goes for naught as the Aggies are charged with interference, and Baylor gets new life at A&M's 23. Time runs out in the first half, but because of the penalty, Baylor has another play, and Terry Cosby boots a 41-yard field goal to make the halftime score read Texas A&M 14, Baylor 3. During the afternoon, the Aggies intercept 6 passes and recover 2 Baylor fumbles. Here's Tommy Maxwell stealing a Flynn pass in the third period. And then Brubaker pilfers another Flynn pass and goes all the way. But the Aggies are detected for clipping. And the ball belongs to A&M at the Baylor 40. Early in the fourth period, Hargett gets the Cadets going with this toss to Steegen, good for 28 yards. Steegen climaxes the march with an 11-yard scoring run over right tackle. Final score, Texas A&M 21, Baylor 3. Now the scene shifts to Fayetteville, Arkansas, where it's homecoming for the Razorbacks, a team that hasn't lost to the Aggies since 1957. After taking the opening kickoff, the Hogs march steadily downfield until it's 3rd and 1 at the Aggie 11-yard line. And here, the Aggie defense comes of age. The Razorbacks call on their ace, David Dickey, and he's stacked up. Dickey again, this time at right tackle. Again he's stopped, shy of the first down. The Aggies take over and drive nearly 90 yards for the touchdown. On 3rd down, Hargett fires to Buckman. He has 23 yards before going down. Then Hargett becomes a running quarterback on the option. This one for 9 yards. Then again for an 8-yard pickup. And finally, Steegen goes over right tackle for the touchdown. Riggs' kick makes it 7-0 for the Aggies. The second period belongs to Arkansas as they rack up 2 touchdowns. On the first drive, it's Ronnie South throwing a 10-yard pass to Max Peacock. Then Dickey hits a tackle for 3 yards. It's Dickey slamming into the end zone from 1 yard out, and it's a 7-7 contest. The next time Arkansas gets the football, it's on the move again. These 3 Ronnie South passes turn the trick. First, this 21-yarder to Mike Hendren. Then again to Hendren for 9 yards. And finally, this 6-yard payoff pitch to Peacock. And the Hogs carry a 14-7 cushion to the dressing room. The Aggies draw first blood in the second half. It starts when Paul Connor punts and Bob Long returns it 22 yards. Steegen gets 3 yards around right end. Then Hargett passes for 4 more to his fine young halfback. Harris is open. Hargett hits him for the score, and once again, it's a brand new game at 14-all. But the Razorbacks aren't dead yet. South starts them rolling with this 15-yarder to end Mike Sigmund. and then finishes the job with a 19-yard scoring toss, which is tipped by the Aggies' Brubaker and then caught by Peacock. As the third period ends, Arkansas leads 21-14, but the Aggies are on the move. Faced by Hargett's aerial magic. First he hits Buckman for 16 yards. Then Maxwell for 10. Housley for 9. Back to Maxwell for 12 more. And finally to Housley, who storms into the end zone on the 12-yard touchdown play. Riggs' kick goes astray, and Arkansas still leads it 21-20. But the fourth quarter belongs to the hungry Aggies. Glenn Hockersmith on a draw play is slammed by Winston Beam. The ball pops free, and safety Tommy Maxwell recovers for the Aggies at the Arkansas 31. Hargett fires to Stegent for 17 yards. Then he threads the needle to Maxwell in the end zone for a 15-yard touchdown strike, and A&M leads 26-21. The Razorbacks are forced to punt, and on-rushing Harvey Aschenbeck partially blocks the kick. The Aggies take over at their own 47. And here's that man Hargett again, making like Fran Tarkinen as he and Stegent combine for 37 yards. Same combination. Hargett throwing, Stegent catching, this time for 12 yards. Then Stegent goes over the left side for the touchdown to climax the drive. Final score, Aggies 33, Arkansas 21. Next, it's the Rice Owls in Houston, and the Aggie defense rises to the occasion with 3 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries. Early in the game, Robbie Shelton fumbles, and Ralph Kruger is there to recover for the Aggies at the Rice 16. Moments later, Riggs splits the uprights with this 27-yard field goal for a 3-0 A&M lead. Near the end of the first period, Shelton passes, and Jimmy Piper intercepts. But the Aggies can't capitalize on this break. Then in the second period, Terry Shelton, Robbie's brother, is hit and fumbles, and Buster Adamy recovers. Again, the Aggies can't take advantage, and at halftime it's still A&M 3, Rice nothing. Early in the third period, after a long punt return, Rice moves to the Aggie 7. Then Terry Sheldon circles right in for 3. And on fourth down, Frank Puska boots a 22-yard field goal to make it a 3-3 game. A little later, Robbie Shelton goes aloft with this pass, and Ivan Jones of the Aggies is there to intercept. He rambles down to the Rice 15. On fourth down at the Rice 13, Riggs comes forth to boot this 30-yard field goal to put the Aggies ahead again, 6-3. Rice comes back strong. Lester Lehman goes for 10 on this draw play up the middle. Then Terry Sheldon hits off the left side for 5. Now Robbie Shelton decides to pass again, and that's a mistake because Aggie safety Tommy Maxwell is there to make the great diving interception at the Aggie 40. Hargett fires to Buckman for 11 to start the Aggies goalward. Then finds Harris for 19 on this pass and run play. Buckman is on the receiving end for another 20 yards. Finally, watch in slow motion as the man who gave the Aggies possession with his interception, Tommy Maxwell, goes high in the end zone to catch his Hargett touchdown toss, and A&M has a 12-3 lead. The Owls have another quarterback, Robert Haley, and he tries his luck, but A&M's Buster Adamy is Johnny on the spot and intercepts. In the closing moment, Stegent leaps the left side, finds daylight, and he's long gone for 23 yards in the touchdown. Final score, Texas A&M 18, Rice 3. It's Thanksgiving afternoon at enlarged Kyle Field, and nearly 54,000 frantic fans are jammed inside for the Aggie-Texas Spectacular. The Aggies can take the Southwest Conference title with a winner tie. A Texas victory would leave room for all sorts of sharing of the title. The mood of the day is set as A&M Steve O'Neill, one of the nation's top hunters, booms this one downfield, and Texas Bill Bradley takes it. He gives ground, and Larry Steegen and Barney Harris bring him thudding to the turf. Bradley tries right end, but Kruger is there to throw him for a yard loss, and Texas is forced to punt. The Aggies move to the attack with this Hargett to long pass that goes for 43 yards to the Texas 43. Steegen hits over right tackle for 9 yards. The Aggies stall at the Texas 17, and Riggs tries a 33-yard field goal, but it sails off to the left. Texas can't move either, as Bradley loses 2 yards when Kruger and Piper collaborate on the tackle. Bradley's punt is fair caught by Bob Long at the Aggie 14. Steegen takes this pitch out from Hargett, goes around left end, and gets 31 yards before he finally goes down. Hargett passes to Buckman for 16 yards, but then the Aggies bog down again. O'Neill gets off this picture punt that sails into the end zone, backs up like a wedge shot, and Harris kills it on the Texas 1. It was a day to gamble, Mr. Bradley thought, so he went to the air. Kruger's outstretched hands tipped the football. Hobbs was there to intercept at the Texas 11. 3 plays lost 4 yards, then Riggs booted this 32-yard field goal, and the Aggies have a 3-0 halftime advantage. The second half kickoff by Long is fielded by Chris Gilbert, Texas ace runner, and he's off and running, but look out. Here comes Leroy Howland, and down goes Gilbert with a hip pointer on that crunching tackle that puts him out of action for the afternoon. Ted Coy, his replacement, runs hard for 5 yards. His number is called again, but this time, senior end Grady Allen bangs him, he fumbles, and Piper is there to recover at the Texas 41. But Aggie joy is short-lived as this Hargett pass, intended for Jimmy Adams, is intercepted by Pat Harkins, who returns it 15 yards. The Texas field goal misses. Then after an Aggie punt, Texas is threatening again as Bradley lofts a pass for Randy Peskel. Tommy Maxwell is there to intercept for the Aggies. Early in the fourth period, Texas puts everything together. First, Bradley finds Ed Small wide open on this 35-yard gainer. Coy hits left guard for 4 yards. Again it's Coy, this time for 3. Then Bradley follows Coy into the end zone from 2 yards out, and Texas has a 7-3 lead. But before the Longhorn cheering dies down, the Aggies are back. On the second play following the kickoff, Hargett fires to Bob Long, who wins the foot race over Harkins to the end zone. An 80-yard pass and run touchdown that gives the Aggies their first Southwest Conference title since 1956 and their first Cotton Bowl berth since January of 1942. But if the scoring was completed, the game certainly wasn't. Bradley's pass is picked off again by Hobbs, and the Aggies have the ball at the Texas 27. Then Hargett on a keeper fumbles, and Texas Leo Brooks recovers for the Longhorns at their own 25. Now Texas is on the move. Bradley goes to the air for 17 to Tom Higgins, then for 20 to Randy Peskel. But then the big play Aggies rise to the occasion once more as Buster Adamy makes a diving interception for A&M. Final score, Texas A&M 10, Texas 7, and joy reigns supreme in Aggie land. The 42nd annual Cotton Bowl Classic matches the master, Paul Bryant of Alabama, against one of his prize pupils, Gene Stallings, who had played under Bryant at Texas A&M and coached under him at Alabama. It was a natural. Bama's Tommy Wade hustles for the opening kickoff and runs it back 35 yards before Curly Hallman, an Alabama lad on the Aggie squad, brings him down. On the first play, Kenny Stabler pitches back, but there's no receiver around, and A&M tackle Rolf Kruger recovers at the Bama 28. Alabama holds and takes over at its 20. On third down, southpaw Stabler throws a strike, To All-American end, Dennis Holman for 30 yards. Then David Chatwood rambles up the middle for 14, and the tide is really rolling. Stabler climaxes it with this fake to Ed Morgan, then goes around left end for the touchdown. Steve Davis' kick makes it 7-0, Alabama. A little later, Stabler goes back on the launching pad and fires again, but Aggie safety Tommy Maxwell makes a juggling interception and sets A&M's attack in motion. The Aggies were clipping on the play and start their drive from the Alabama 43. All Southwest Conference quarterback Hargett finds Barney Harris in the clear. Harris gets a timely block from Larry Stegent as he moves down to the Bama 15. Then on third down, Hargett finds Stegent free on the left side, and the league sophomore of the year breaks away from All-America back Bobby Johns to make it into the end zone. Riggs splits the uprights, and it's a 7-7 stalemate. But Bama comes right back. Stabler finds Perry Willis with this 11-yard shot. Then Stabler heaves one to Hunter Husband for 13 more. And Kenny Martin goes up the middle for another 18 before Tommy Maxwell makes the stop. On 4th and 6 at the Aggie 19 on the first play of the second period, Steve Davis boots a 36-yard field goal that puts the Crimson Tide out in front 10-7. Now it's A&M's turn, and Hargett is on target. First, he hits Bob Long for 17 yards. Next, he finds Tom Buckman free and hits him for 21. And now, watch this miraculous juggling catch by Stegent as he brings it into his grasp finally at the Alabama 7-yard line. Then Hargett throws into the end zone, and Tommy Maxwell comes across to catch it for a touchdown. Bama was flagged for interference, but the Aggies could care less. Riggs' conversion try hit the upright and bounces away, but A&M has a 13-10 lead at halftime. We pick up play in the third period as Hargett throws his only official pass of the second half. Barney Harris makes the leaping catch for 10 yards. Enter fullback Wendell Housley with 2 magnificent runs. He tears over left tackle and bowls his way for 13 yards. And now he goes the same route, breaks at least 5 would-be Bama tacklers, and finally puts the ball into the end zone. When Riggs boots the extra point, the comeback Aggies have Alabama down 20-10. But the tide didn't sink. Not right then. It came rolling back. Chatwood thundering up the middle for 20. Then Stabler passing to Danny Ford for another 19. It's Stabler hitting Holman on a slant in for 22 to the Aggie 7. Stabler goes over left tackle, makes a flying leap. He's into the end zone for his second touchdown of the day. Bama goes for 2, but the Aggie defense is having none of that and stops Chatwood cold. Now it's late in the game, and Bama is desperate. Stabler fires deep for Richard Brewer. The ball is tipped by Hobbs. Halfback Holman almost intercepts. Then on 4th down, Stabler hits Husband, but Hobbs and Piper are there to make the stop. It's short of a first down, and the Aggies take over. A&M has to punt, and then Stabler launches another aerial assault. There's Holman again. A big interception that wraps it up. Hargett takes the snap and huddles over the ball as the clock runs out. The Aggies have beaten Bama 20-16. And the joyous Aggies are beyond description. After an 0-4 start, they are Southwest Conference champions, Cotton Bowl kings, and carrying a 7-game winning streak into the 68 season. And if anyone thought the old master Paul Bryant would merely shake his pupil's hand, they are surprised too. And now it is true. What the bumper stickers had proclaimed for so long, the Aggies are back.